In our politics lead, former President Trump using, according to the Anti-Defamation League, quote, classic anti-Semitic stereotypes about Israeli and Jewish control of Congress and the press, unquote. In an interview with Israeli journalist Barak Ravid, Trump claimed, falsely, that Jewish Americans do not like or care about Israel, and he spouted off a number of other rather ignorant remarks about Jews. Let's get right to what the former president said with Jonathan Greenblatt of the Anti-Defamation League. Jonathan, before we discuss Trump's comments, trigger alert for people who don't like anti-Semitism. Let's play them.
People in this country that are Jewish no longer love Israel. I'll tell you, the evangelical Christians love Israel more than the Jews in this country. It used to be that Israel had absolute power over Congress, and today I think it's the exact opposite. When you look at the New York Times hates Israel, hates them, and they're Jewish people that run the New York Times.
So, a lot to dive into there. I mean, that's like 4 or 5 anti-Semitic tropes in 40 seconds. A new record, perhaps. Let's look at Trump's first claim, John. A Pew survey earlier this year found that 58% of Jews in America are very or somewhat emotionally attached to Israel. 60% say that they have a lot or something in common with Israeli Jews. So to say that American Jews don't like or love Israel, that's inaccurate just as a factual matter.
Yeah, look, I mean, Jake, these comments, unfortunately, are not very surprising from former President Trump, but they fall somewhere between stunning and stupid. Now, I expect this from people on the extreme right or the far left, but you would think a former president of the United States with Jewish grandchildren would get stuff like this right. And what are we talking about? Look, the bottom line is Jews, he is not the one to tell Jewish people about their feelings for Israel, but there is widespread, overwhelming positive feelings among the Jewish community for the Jewish state. And that's just the start, as you pointed out, of what he said. Tropes about greed, power, loyalty, clannishness, like literally, you wonder how low he's going to go.
Yeah, and then he said, Israel, I'm just going to quote this, Israel had absolute power over Congress, and today I think it's the exact opposite. I mean, the idea that Israel had absolute control over Congress or absolute power over Congress, that's the kind of anti-Semitism you hear from, like, members of the Klan.
That's right. I mean, this sounds like Richard Spencer, or this sounds like some of the most radical people on the left, or Lyndon LaRouche, for goodness sakes. I mean, that's what we're talking about here. Israel doesn't have absolute power over anything, even its own electorate, for goodness sakes. But this plays into these longstanding tropes, Jake, that have led to Jewish people being harassed, suffering from violence, and literally being killed. So it's not something we can take lightly, especially when it's coming from a former commander-in-chief. It's really quite disturbing.
Trump claimed that evangelical Christians love Israel more than Jewish Americans. This is a complicated issue. Obviously, a lot of evangelical Christians are supportive of Israel. There's a theological reason behind a lot of that. What's he talking about here?
Well, look, it's certainly true that there are many people of the Christian faith, evangelicals, Catholics, other denominations within Protestantism, the Church of Latter-day Saints, that feel very strongly about the Jewish state of Israel. That could be for biblical reasons or political reasons or personal reasons. But to say that this group loves Israel more than that group, like, that's the kind of analysis we don't really need, because at the bottom line, Jake, it's anti-Semitism to play into these tropes and these myths about who feels more strongly about the Jewish state helps no one, particularly the Jewish people.
Yeah, I mean, also, it's not a contest, right? I mean, he seems to be judging, right. The way he seems to look at this is like support for Israel is measured by how much people voted for Donald Trump. Evangelical Christians overwhelmingly voted for me, therefore they love Israel more than Jewish Americans who disproportionately did not vote for me.
Yeah, look, the bottom line is President Trump's yardstick, as always, is his ego, because that's what seems to be the measure that he uses to determine someone's value, someone's patriotism, or in this case, someone's Zionism. But none of it works. And again, we have seen time and again, whether it's people who belong to different organizations or extremist movements, employ the same kind of myths, Jake, and use it to justify the marginalization and the persecution of Jewish people.
Yeah.
And it's flat out wrong.
And then, of course, he went after the New York Times, claiming the newspaper hates Israel and it's run by Jews. Obviously, he goes on to say he's talking about the Sulzberger families who have run the paper for decades. But still, to say that the New York Times is run, he goes, Jewish people run the New York Times.
I mean, again, like this plays into this trope about Jews controlling the media. And we also know the myths of Jews controlling Hollywood, Wall Street, Silicon Valley, you name it. Anti-Semitism is a conspiracy theory, and it adapts and it morphs and it shapes to the times and to the particular, pathologies of the person pushing out the prejudice. That's what we have here. The bottom line is all of these myths, again, have been used to justify violence against the Jewish people. And the people who push out such myths, Jake, they aren't our friends, right? They don't align with our values. When I say our friends, I mean they don't align with the American values of decency and humanism and tolerance. And that's why they're so problematic.
Yeah. Jonathan Greenblatt, thank you so much. Good to see you again. Vladimir